doing this impromptu live. As always, huge thank you to my Patreons. Thank you for supporting my work. I spent the whole day filming today, and I'm really excited for those videos to come out. And Patreons, of course, get them all pre-released all at once, and hopefully within the next week or so. So if you want to look into that, be a part of all the fun that is going on there, you're welcome to go to the link with the place, with the things and all that. And speaking of Patreons, hello Ivy! Thank you for joining. I'm so excited to see you soon, Ivy. Ivy is what would your title be for Spiritually Synergistic? The owner of Spiritually Synergistic? That is who I've been working with for my domestic trips, and we're going to NOLA this week. So I won't be going into the specific details on that just because it is an exclusive trip, but I'm very excited to be traveling again this week. Yeah, I did this impromptu live. Oh, both of you caught this live. Hello. Glad you're here. I don't really have a plan for this. I just wanted to go live. Don't overheat. Hey, that wasn't me this time. I didn't ask that your parents are rich. What? Where would I never go? I know of places that I don't love going. And typically people like me wouldn't be appreciated at some of those places because, P.S. Joshua, on the chat, that was not me. If you're DMing somebody that says that they are me, they are not. Please block and report them. That goes for anybody who is having a DM from somebody who says that they're me and they are not. Please keep in mind, I do not DM. It is in my bio. I do not DM. And that is on this platform. That is on TikTok. That is obviously TikTok. That is on Instagram and Facebook. If you go to that person's profile, you will notice a significant difference in their follower count. You will notice a difference in the videos. Thank you for the heart. You will notice a small difference in their name. Please block and report them. That is all we can do right now until until I am verified. Hopefully I get verified. Here's the manifestation for that. I actually have my manifest space journal out. Maybe I'll manifest that because goodness, it's taken long enough. So yeah, goodness, what was I saying? Where would I never go? I don't love going to hospitals and asylums, especially when it is paranormal tourism. Now, here's the thing. Right now, I'm posting some reenactment skits based on Old Jail in St. Augustine. And I've got some more content on that in shorter form through Phasma Box sessions that we had there. Do check out officially Katherine or officially _Katherine. They have some more things on their channel and their YouTube as well if you want to get more information on that. Some people said, oh, don't take the ghost away. That's so cool. Why would you take the ghost away? I'm not taking the ghost away. I'm providing an exit for those who don't want to be there anymore. So here's my issue with paranormal tourism, since apparently we're jumping into this particular wagon. Some ghosts do want to be where they are. And those ghosts, they can be fun. They can help out with tech. They can give you cool information. Some ghosts are just existing where they are. They don't need to go anywhere, okay? It's the ghosts who are being wrongfully trapped. Those are the ones that I have a big issue with. So when I talk about making doors for folks, going into these places where people feel like they are trapped, that is giving them the choice to leave, because especially in places like jails, I think if somebody is offered a life sentence, that shouldn't be a afterlife sentence either. So I don't know about either, but there shouldn't be an afterlife sentence, right? So yeah, that's what I do in those places. And I know for some paranormal contracts, they will say you are not allowed to move on the ghost. And I have a huge problem with that. I consider that enslavement. That is not okay. So myself, other people, just because everybody can do what I do, you just have to figure out your language and go for it. For any of us who can help those as they pass, why wouldn't we? It's the humane thing to do. So anyway, as I always say, if you are interested in learning these sorts of things, if you want to grow your own psychic skill sets, I do teach courses. They start at $10 a month on the place with a thing that starts with a P and ends with an N, aka Patreon. That's what I talk about when I talk about that. I've got 10 courses up, and all that's readily available. You can have access to all of them for $10. And then if you choose to stay on and support my work, thank you. Thank you for the gift. Yay. I saw abstract. I didn't see what the rest of your name was. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining this live. It was impromptu. I did not plan it. Ooh, good. Oh, I have to scroll back on this thing. So yeah, as far as like going back and answering stuff, I don't know if there's a place I wouldn't go, but if I ever showed up to a place and I was afraid, I wouldn't go. I do a lot of, oh, thank you for the heart. I do try to do psychic pings on like new places, especially if I know that there's like a particular something or another that's known to be there. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Cool. I'm catching up on comments. Yeah, I do think I should be verified. Thank you, Pepper. Yes, always check the spelling of different accounts. Yeah, just looking back at the comments, if I don't DM people. So please don't say things like, you said this, you said that. If it was in a DM, that was not me. So please block and report them. I'm just going back and looking at my comments. Am I going to Salem? Not anytime soon. I'm on the fence about that just because, once again, paranormal tourism. Like, people are always like, oh, go to asylums, go to hospitals, go to jails. And I'm just like, dude, I can literally walk around my hometown and meet new ghosts. I don't need to go to these super haunted places. Thank you for the gift, Amy. I don't need to go to these super haunted places in order to talk to folks. In fact, Wilmington is a super underrated place for hauntings. The last time we had a meetup here, which was last year, which I'm looking to have in 2024. If you want to be a part of that, join my Patreon exclusive community, but that'll be later. Yeah, a lot of people who came here, they ranked it close to what they felt in places like St. Augustine and Savannah. So yeah, this is where I cut my teeth. This is how I learned a lot of the stuff that I learned. Thank you, Still Bunny. From Andrew. What's up, Andrew? Good to see you here. Quick question. What are your thoughts about grounding with water versus earth? Personal preference. Yeah, that's really what thank you for the gift, Jersey Mike. Love the name. I think it's personal preference and what you're looking to do and why you're kind of looking to do it. I ground with both, depending on where I'm at. If I'm vibing more with water, like the ocean or certain rivers that I really love, I'll go there. Or even out here, like you can't really get into the Cape Fear. It's actually unsafe because it's a black river and you can't really see well underneath it. You have to be specially trained in order to like actually swim and dive in the river. It's also very fast currents and yeah, just we respect her, we leave her be, you know? So out here, I might connect to the ground and then maybe connect to the water underneath. So yeah, personal preference. If you feel called to one or the other or both, depending on the time, whether that time is monthly or yearly or whatever, go for it. Or if it's like a different location or whatever. Ghosts deserve to have choices too. Yes, thank you, Belladonna. What I recommend on Salem, Massachusetts. So the story, you're clairaudient and would like some tips. I was about to say, are you looking for tips to open up or are you looking for tips to calm it down? I guess one tip to do both is to have a switch for yourself. For clairaudience, a lot of things that I do with people in consultations is I tell them to imagine earplugs. And so to switch it on, pull the energy that could be plugging out, and then to switch it off, put it back. So that way it's like not going crazy all the time. I've got a whole hour-long course on my Patreon, and right now like you can get 10 different courses for $10 all right now. So do consider that. I could, oh my goodness, all my tips are like there on so many different things. But yeah, just remember, keep grounding, shielding, Cleansing, have a good routine for yourself. I always say every time you wash your hands, cleanse your energetic field. Also, every time you use the bathroom, you can cleanse your energetic field because that is a release when you think about it. And shield, remember, you can put up whatever in your mind's eye that you want. And remember, your shield is to protect you. That's not necessarily to put away your psychic abilities unless you want it to do that for you. So, Taylor asks, is it possible for a medium to connect to someone who just passed? You can. I would say wait for them to come to you because they have stuff to do. And that's go figure. I'm talking about all my courses. I've got an hour-long course on talking to past loved ones. That's the most recent one. Thank you, Samantha, for the rose. I also have a full YouTube where I go on with Officially Katherine and we talk about when to not contact past loved ones. Think of it this way. When you pass, you have a lot of stuff to do. And like, yes, you want to be there for your family, but sometimes grief can get really sticky and you have issues like communicating with one another. I really always say, like, when somebody first passes, let them come to you rather than you reach out to them. I've both personally and for other people, and also from what I've talked to with people on my readers team, sometimes before 3 months, especially, is just too soon. Give them space and time. They are also acclimating to being in spirit. So that kind of goes into trust the process as well. I would recommend if you're struggling, work with your guides, work with a grief counselor, work with other people who are there to support you. Contact the dead after you have settled with your own feelings on the matter. And then wish them well. You can always tell your guides and be like, guides, can you just, check in on them, make sure they're okay. Thanks so much. Or if you kind of want to send the thought to them and be like, hey, not trying to bother you, but when you're good, if you can just, know that I'm thinking about you. Those are my thoughts on that matter. So, I think I mentioned when I went live with Katherine, that's on YouTube. So that's not on Patreon. That's like public on YouTube. And then the one on how to contact past loved ones, which we also do a review on when to not, is on my Patreon. And it's a lot of different ways on how to do that, along with how other ways to grow your psychic abilities, because everybody has them and everybody can grow them. And the more we have people aware of themselves and trusting themselves right now, I think the better off we're all going to be. So let's see, go on. Oh, hey, Paige. Ghosts who want to be with their loved ones should not be exploited by an entity. Yes, thank you. I'm behind on my comments, so now I'm like reading. Yeah, I'm glad we're all kind of in the same thought of like, hey, let's not exploit spirits. It's one thing, remember, if they want to be there. It's another thing if they feel trapped. And it's another thing, like, if they want to be there, but they don't want to talk to us. That's okay too. Give them their humanity. Let's see, Rebekah, fellow Rebekah, are ghosts ever spirit guides? There can be a transition, though I think it's important to note the difference between spiritual guidance and proper spirit guide. So spiritual guidance could be anybody who's offering you information on the other side because they're in spirit. A spirit guide is somebody who has to be more than a ghost. So how do you become more than a ghost? You have to come to terms with why you became a ghost in the first place. A lot of ghosts are running from why they became ghosts in the first place. Or some ghosts are so very attached to something physical, whether it be a person, place, or thing, that they're having trouble coming to terms with like all that they are and actually being able to ascend in some way. I say that ghosts can become guides if they work with a higher form of themselves, do different life reviews, work with different guides, and then they can become a spirit guide. The vibration or the frequency of a ghost is very different from a spirit guide. Ghosts are more like, I describe it more like this in wavelength, whereas guides are like this. It's like closer, it's higher. Remember, higher doesn't mean good or bad. It's just a higher pitch frequency. Thank you, bookworm. Yay. I'm going to keep doing that. When people do that, I'm like, ha. So yeah. Can you tell over FaceTime that there is a spirit around? Yes, that is what I do in my mediumship-led consultations. I use Google Hangouts And I either do claircognizant reads with people with their consent, or I actually go to places in astral projection, just a piece of me, so I can still talk with people and still be there at the same time. So that is how I do it. Remember, space and time is not a thing in spirit. Cool. Ooh, your 2.5-year-old speaks to ghost. How can you help support him? Great question, Sarah. One, I did a recent video where I stitched Gregisms, who I love what he's doing. Just, yeah, spread your joy, or find your joy. That's what he says, find your joy. Where I talk about empowering kids to understand that whether it's a spirit or something around them that they don't like a person or something like that, that they can be empowered to grow and say no. It's the same thing with boundaries. I recommend look at that video. It's not from too long ago, and it's talking about their like, what is it? Superheroes or like sci-fi characters, fantasy. What do they do to protect themselves? How can you protect themselves? I recommend pairing it with like a physical action, especially as kids are coming into speaking English, but they can, do physical action. So sometimes doing this or like Jedi no, or like something like that. Pow. Not only to shield them, but also to be like, okay, what do? We shoot lightning out, kind of thing. Do it with them too. Even if you can't always perceive what's going on, if you see your kid like make the switch between like being afraid and like doing something, that's when you can go over and you can support them and you'd be like, oh, are we fighting the ghost? Oh, thank you, Jersey Mike. I love it. Lightning hands. Yes, perfect. Now here's the thing. If the experiences that your kid is having are not scary, then you may not need all this stuff. I say be proactive, teach them and be like, if anything does scare you, you can do it. I've even, for ghosts that weren't aware of what they were doing, thank you, somebody. I would do different things to them to be like, hey, you're getting too close to my energy, back off. We do the same thing with people, right? If they like call us up and they're just like, oh, my day, and you also had a day, you might just be like, hey, love you so much, I can't do this today. It's nothing against them, but it's you setting a boundary of just being like, not today, can you give me a minute, kind of thing. So yeah, empower your kids. That's what I'm saying. Going back down. Oh my goodness, I have 82 new comments that I need to catch up on. So Bree says, or asks, are you able to detect the presence of deities? I know you've talked about Lady Hecate previously. I'm getting better at it. There's a reason why I'm not the deity reader on my readers team. That's Sorsha. So if that's something you're interested in or working on or something like that, like feeling out if a deity's around or trying to reach out to you, I would recommend booking with her. Cause I'm primarily ghost and guides and otherworldly creatures. We all have our different specialities. All of us on our reading team, like some of us do read similar things, which I think is super cool, but we all like specialize in different things. So that's why I always recommend like read who is on my readers team, look at what they do. If you have questions on what they do or you're uncertain about something, just fill out a contact form and my assistant will get to you. But yeah, I'm getting better at reading deities. For myself, I'm not in the capacity to do that for other people right now. I just don't have a wide enough understanding of who I'm talking to sometimes. So that's why I don't like offer that service to other people, but there's certainly other people who do. It's just, they sit at a higher frequency than I do, generally speaking. I can get to that frequency, but I'm not always naturally there. Yeah, so clairaudient tips, definitely would recommend check out my course. I've got a whole hour of tips. Other thing you could do if you're looking to work with somebody one-on-one, you may want to work with officially Katherine, who's also a reader on my team. She is super clairaudient, so can also give you one-on-one tips based upon how you already work. What Katherine does and what I do, we read energy of people and then we provide tips on how best they can work. And we also like work with their guides and that sort of thing, or clients' guides. So that way it's more like tailored experience for them. The tips that I have, as I say, I keep going back to Patreon, not to be like, hey, paywall. It's just more like I'm still growing my clairaudience. I can work with people's guides to help them grow their clairaudience. Though, even for that Patreon course, I actually had Katherine in because Katherine is very clairaudient, whereas I've been reopening my clairaudience over the last few years. This is where I say, I am certainly not the end all be all on everything. That's why I have a team. That's why I have other people that I talk to about these things. That's why I interview other people on my lives, because I want people to see how they match up with other people, not just like, oh, Rebekah the Ghost Guide, that kind of thing. I'm only one person. I only can do so many things. I'm trying to do as many things as I can, but here we are. I have to do like living, alive stuff. Yes, I know people are trying to impersonate me. Please report and block them. I have over 50 people trying to do that right now. And until I'm verified, all I can do is block and report them myself. If you go to my bio, it says I will never DM people. And that is exactly why that's why I have that up there, because I know people are impersonating me and it really sucks. So, cool. Oh, I lost where all my comments were. Okay. Oh, thank you, Sugar the Watt-Ryler. My saying that my growth has been amazing to watch. Yeah, I keep saying this, how like my reopening to my abilities is because like my reawakening has been in front of all of you for the last 3 years. So it's been a wild thing to like learn more and more. My ghost skits are about to become like even more and more like I won't spoil. But it's me going into astral more, me going to different underworlds. Like I'm doing more and more in consultations now, that like it's been the coolest thing to see how bookings have grown for me over time. Like I feel like it's very much my spirit folks giving me what I can to work with. Like if somebody had come to me 2 years ago and was like, hey, this something or another going on in the underworld, I'd be like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. I'd probably call Hecate or something like that. Nowadays, I'm just like, oh, what's going on in the underworld? Okay, hold on, let me go down there and talk to so-and-so. So it's been really cool to see how my consultations have grown and to see how the needs have changed, but also how the needs have stayed the same. I'm very happy to be able to offer the courses on Patreon. And I've already noticed that when people like take them, when people watch them, take notes and actually apply them, by the time we meet, it's obvious. And I don't mean just like, I tried it once and then, I mean like really putting some fun behind it. Make it the thing that you want to do. The stuff doesn't just like open up out of nowhere. Like you've got to want it. And I'm not saying obsess over it. Like absolutely do not obsess over it. I'm just saying if you want something, you do it without having to think about it. You do it without making it a chore. So if you want to open up spiritually, want it. Be curious about it. Be excited about it. That's what this can be. But also go about it from an equal approach. Don't like neglect other health too. We're talking mental health. We're talking physical health, educational health, emotional health, all of that health. We should, in my humble opinion, be growing all kinds of health, and that's the best way to do it. So yeah. Yay. Okay, people are saying Katherine's awesome. Yay. Okay, Cecilia asked, can I see a person's spirit guide and have you to be right next to the person to see? No, and I perceive a person's spirit guide. I don't invite folks to my private spaces anymore. I know some mediums do that, where they just invite whoever to their space. I stopped doing that when people didn't want to leave. I thought that was rude. Just saying. That's the thing. Some mediums, they'll tell stories about like, oh, so-and-so's past loved one came here to hang out a week before they're meeting and I'm just like, dude, I need quiet in my house. I don't want folks I don't know rolling up here. I do not appreciate that. I did not consent to that. Maybe they did. I did not. I also, like, they don't know me. I've seen some readers be like, oh, I've never had trouble with, so-and-so's past loved one talking to me. And I'm like, so-and-so's past, not everybody's past loved one will like me. I've had people's grandparents look at me and say, I don't believe in mediumship. And then they don't want to say anything. And the only confirmation I get to give them is like, okay, they say they don't believe in this stuff. And then that's when the person's like, oh yeah, they didn't, their religion wasn't really open to it. That's fine, but yeesh, like, once again, I don't deny people their personalities, their humanity, that kind of thing. And nowadays I primarily read for spirit guides, otherworldly creatures, and ghosts. I offer cleansings. I'm very grateful to have Katherine on my team because they're fantastic at doing past loved one readings. They are able to provide more clairaudient and clairvoyant based readings, whereas I have to do more clairsentient readings or claircognizant readings. Thank you, Jersey, for the rose. So that's once again, it's kind of similar to the deities. Like I can tap into them, but I chose people on my team who were better than me at doing that. And I'm no longer afraid to like admit that. I remember when I was like first starting this, I was like, oh man, if I'm not as good at past loved ones, I must suck. Dude, that's what I just know what I'm really good at now. And it's super exciting to me. Ghosts and spirit guides, woo. Like, and I love it too. I get so passionate about it. But anyway, when talking about guides, I went on like a whole tangent, Mercury in retrograde here. I perceive spirit guides. You do not have to be here. I do not have to be there. I ask them to speak to me how they would speak to you because I want every client to walk away from one of my consultations feeling like they have a language to talk with their own folks. That was something I had a huge problem with. Before I was believing in myself, I would go to like mediumship readings and I would walk away thinking, man, I wish I could do that, but I have no idea how, and I can't see or I can't hear. It just reaffirmed limiting beliefs that I had for myself. So in that regard, why I call them consultations, I want people to walk away with a language, their language, the language that they have. So I ask spirit guides to communicate with me as best as possible using the language that they're trying to communicate with individuals. So yeah, that's why I say anybody can do this. You just have to figure out your language. And you don't necessarily need a reading from me in order to do that. You don't necessarily need a reading at all in order to do that. You can do your research, try new things and that kind of thing. I keep talking about Patreon because I'm like super proud of it. But like at the same time, I never want people to think, oh man, mediumship is so expensive. I have to do XYZ paywall. Get curious. You can go to a library, check out a book on psychic perception. You do not have to spend money on being curious about activating your psychic abilities. A lot of times it's just you believing in yourself. I mean, that's where I came from. A lot of the work that I did to grow was me just tuning out the voice in my head that said I sucked and that it was fake. And then over time, I was playful about it. And I just, I asked the universe to put me in the right place at the right time in order to find validation behind what I was looking for. And go figure, TikTok turned into part of my validation because I started writing out the experiences that I was having, channeled writing, though I didn't know at the time. And then I started sharing these stories and more people kept coming forward and being like, whoa, this is so similar to an experience that I had. So it's out there. I feel like I'm living proof that like these possibilities are out there. It's just sort of taking the dive and do it. I know a lot of spiritually sensitive people who just talk themselves out of it. And if that's your path, that's your path. But like, if you want to do this, then do it. Like, what's stopping you? Is it your mind being like, you suck? That's a thing to work on in the mental health area of things. And that's not an insult to say that. I had to work on my mental health so hard. I still go to therapy twice a month because my worth and my belief in myself starts with my mental health. Worth and belief in self start here. That's not a spiritual thing. So anyway, I love how I start out with these questions, and then I go all the way around. So I hope y'all are enjoying this. I hope you're here for the tangents. Yay, thank you. I love all the kindness in my chats. I super appreciate that. Ooh, I'm not sure if I how to pronounce your name. Celages or Celages? How do I not get pulled to the dark side? Balance. Some people look at me and they're like, oh, you're so light in love. I'm a dusk dawn person. I'm really a whole rotation of the day. Half the day is the night. So I've seen people go to the dark side by being high vibe, just so I've seen them go low vibe. And remember, when I'm talking about high vibe and low vibe, I don't mean good and bad. I mean different vibes. I've seen people who are so like far up in the light and love land that they ignore a lot of the stuff. For example, some people who primarily channel higher selves and deities. I've seen some people be like, oh, well, ghosts don't exist. I'm like, it's fine, that's your belief, but just because you haven't experienced it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Just like I've seen some people who primarily channel ghosts that like, they get really into like the underworld gods, which by the way, underworld gods are not bad. I work with some myself, but they get so deep into it that they can't even talk to upper world gods or like different gods. So check your vibration. Balance is essential. I'm going to give a shout out to Rebekah. She's at Bruja Bones on TikTok. She has a lot of videos talking about how it's important to have balance. And that's how you don't get too far in either. One of the ways, and thank you for the roses. One of the ways that I maintain balance is my work with Hermes. Hermes is everywhere. Hermes is low vibe, different vibe, in between vibe, all of that stuff. And he's right for me, but I know not everybody's into Hermes because he's a trickster. So I'm not saying that as like everybody should. Only work with somebody if you feel called to that somebody. Never work with somebody because so-and-so works with somebody. Personal belief is the name of the game. That's the most important. So, how do I not get pulled to the dark side? My mental health. How do I not get depressed? I do. I have gotten better about seasonal depression, but it still sneaks up on me. I think mental health is the absolute strength when working with anything spiritual because it makes you hold yourself accountable. It makes you no longer be a victim. It makes you stand up for yourself to empower yourself. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Andrea, again. So I always couple spiritual growth with mental health growth. That's the only way that I can do it. That's the only way that I can suggest that. That's what I say. I apply what I use in my mental health work to my spiritual health work. And I understand that there are highs and lows and there are in-betweens and valleys and all that sort of stuff. Thank you, Andrea. Or if I'm saying your name correctly, I hope so. Let's see. Pez says, if I put a shield up on myself or my home, do I need to maintain it or always be thinking about it? No, just say, this is my impenetrable shield. It is here until I say otherwise. I'd say feed it every now and then. If you want to say that every now and then, be like, I don't know, like maybe before you go to sleep or when you wake up in the morning, this is my impenetrable shield. Nothing enters here without my consent, or nothing enters here without my consent. What is what I use? Only that which means my house and home well may enter here with my consent, or something like that. If you have special words and they give you power, that's how to do it. What you say is what is most powerful. Mean what you say what you mean. I also have a course up on shielding and warding. All these questions, I didn't think I'd be plugging my Patreon so much on this live. Some of these questions are great, and I want to give as much content as possible. And I keep going back to the Patreon just because I've got hour-long courses on all this stuff. So if you feel so led, check it out. Yay, Sarah, you have a reading with me in October. Ooh, fun time. Thanks everybody for saying check out my Patreon. What do I know about astral tattoos? Nothing. It's literally the first time that I heard those words. Yeah, I don't know what your context is for those words. I don't know. I think of some things, but because I've never heard astral tattoos together before, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. So maybe that's just me. Do crystals really work, or any tips on how to use them? Crystals are to help you do the thing that you can already do. So, for example, I have one in my hand. This is the kind of amethyst, smoky amethyst. I love smoky stones, but that's just me. Go to what you're called to. Here's the thing. Me holding this doesn't mean that I can do this live. Me wearing this doesn't give me the magical ability to get up in front of, like, I'm in front of hundreds of people right now and do this live. These just make me feel better. Now, if you want to use tangible objects to assist you with feeling better in your craft, go for it. I would just say be wary of the consumerism element and also where you're getting your stones. You want to be sure that you're not getting them from a place where they're being over harvested. I say harvested, but I hope you get what I mean. Or that the work labor is poor. There's a lot of things that can go into it. Maybe consider people who work with Reiki. For example, Lala Lotus, who made this for me, this is part of the Rebekah the Ghost Guide line. She puts Reiki into all of her pieces, so everything comes out clean. And she also looks things up so that it's safe and, what am I thinking? The word humanitarian comes up, but that's what I mean, but I'm using the wrong word. Yeah, some people use a lot of crystals in their craft. I use stones and other objects for part of what I do. But it's kind of one of those things, like, I can also read without them. It's important to not use them as a crutch either. So just check yourself. Check how you feel about it. And if anybody tells you you need this stone to do this thing, remember the power comes from you. The stone helps, yes. I hold this because it helps keep me more grounded while I'm doing the live, but once again, I don't need to do this. I don't need to have this to do the live. You recently moved to Wilmington. Welcome. I was out and about today, so you may have seen me. I was not wearing makeup because I was not filming yet today, but yeah. Ooh, I like what you said, Balder. Stones are more of a steady vibration that could a baseline, could be a baseline. Is that what you mean? We have our own vibrations as well. Yep. Ethically sourced. Thank you. Artemis sphere. That's what I was like, humanitarian, ethically sourced. Mercury in retrograde, yay! I blame Mercury in retrograde, but at the same time, I'm like this anytime. So yeah. Yeah, fair trade. Thank you, Sarah. Lauren said eco-friendly. Yes, all of this stuff. Thanks for giving me words. Nonya says, do I really see past people like I see regular people? Nope. I see them with my inner eye clairvoyance primarily, or my claircognizance. My strongest skill set, generally speaking, is going to be clairsentience. So that's feeling. And no, I'm not running around being like, on people. Not everybody's into that. I'm not into that most of the time. But I can use a kind of cloud around me to swirl around folks and see where they're at. So that's how I use my clairsentience. I got loads of tips. Oh, yay. Thank you for liking my stories, Jenna. Mercury in the microwave. Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you, mods, for being here. I appreciate you so much, especially as I not even an hour ago was like, I think I'm gonna go live. If any of y'all want to come on, it would be appreciated. I was like, come hang out if you can. My mods are wonderful. Oh, Okay. Yeah, for electrical problems, I would recommend calling an electrician just to be sure that you're not getting too much current to one particular place. And if you're looking to move something out, I'd say either check out the shielding and warding course on my Patreon, or consider having a consultation with officially Katherine, who's one of the readers on my team. Um, P.S. That is shower water if anybody hears that. um, but yeah, I would say book with me, but my waiting list is longer, and I want people to get the help that they need sooner than later, which is another reason why I have my readers team. So, oh yay, Jenny just started my ghost playlist last week. Timothy is so cute. Golden Retriever energy. He's wonderful. I checked in with him recently, just this past week. He's still doing well, and I won't spoil it for you where he's at. Let's see. Little Acorn Artistry said, I can read people and know if they're genuine or not, so it's hard to make friends. Is this true? So it sounds like it sounds like clear cognizance when you can just look at somebody and know if you're going to vibe with them or not. And I understand that too. Honestly, it sucks sometimes when you're like, I want friends. I would say one thing to consider for yourself, if you haven't already, is to see what you can do to manifest genuine people to come into your life, or to travel to places that you feel called to see where those people are at. The water has stopped. Living in an apartment. So yeah, I recommend that. I call people to you. One of the catchphrases that I've been using as a manifestation is the best people find me. And I say it until I mean it. And sometimes even before a consultation, if I'm feeling nervous, just because I'm overcoming imposter syndrome like a lot of people are. And I want to be honest about that. Sometimes if I get nervous, I will just say that back to myself and just be like, the best people find me. The best people find me. So use that as you will. Books or authors you might suggest on getting to know your own spirit guides. From Oracle Arts, I highly recommend check out Emily Dexter's page. She has a lot of great YouTube videos on spirit guides, as well as TikTok videos. As far as books, I'm not entirely sure, but I also know Emily is an author as well, and I highly recommend her YouTube because she goes into a lot more depth on spirit guides than just like 60 seconds. So yeah. Nothing is true. I love that. Nothing is true with an evil eye. So You Want to Be a Medium is a great book. I have not read that book, but thank you for the suggestion. Has Hermes ever shown himself as Thoth? I read they are one and the same. I haven't seen Hermes outside of how I typically perceive him, which always generally looks the same except for his clothing changes from time to time. And I don't know who that is. So I feel like that would be a question for Sorsha. She's the deity reader on my team. She's obviously not here right now. But I feel like that might be something she would know. So do I do readings at houses? Most of the time I don't need to. I can, but I primarily just work from my tent, which is over there. I mean, y'all can't see that, but it's over there. Believe me or not, whatever. I can astral into houses, or I can use my claircognizance, or I can talk with your guides, or talk to the ghost. Space and time do not matter in spirit, so I don't have to be there. But yeah, if I need to do a reading in a house, I will, but most of the time I don't need to. So that includes cleansings, by the way. I have done cleansings from afar, and that'll be a good consultation story. I just had the follow-up with somebody because I have follow-ups with all of my mediumship-like consultations, both the hour-long and the half-hour. Somebody had something that was freaking out their dogs. And I went in there and I was like, that is somebody who got lost. And it looks very otherworldly, and I described it. And the client had seen the shadow before and that kind of thing. And so we were able to like cross-validate, which was really great. And the being just kind of forgot how to move. So I was like, please move. And a client said later that day the dog started moving through the hallway again and had not been moving through that hallway for months at that point. So yeah, go figure. The cleansing was just getting somebody to move out of the house. I felt bad. The poor thing. It was another human, or not human. It was another worldly creature, and it was just like, what am I doing here? And I was like, I think you got trapped in some mucky energy. That is another story I won't get into. But yeah, I was just like, do you want to go? And this guy, like the otherworldly big thing, was just like, I have a family. And I was like, you should go to them. So I kind of moved its feet a little bit and got it unstuck. And I was like, okay, I wish you the best. And he hasn't come back since. I'm assuming it was a he, but otherworldly creatures have different gender understandings than we do. So it's other cool things. Yeah, okay, cool. Ooh, have I seen any of the Conjuring movies from Jenny? I saw the first one. I saw the second one. I did resonate with the first one. Go figure. The first one was filmed in Wilmington, which is where I'm at. It didn't happen in Wilmington, but it was filmed in Wilmington. And some of the places they filmed at were actually haunted. But yeah, I resonated with the first movie because how they depict Elaine. Am I saying her name right? Or Mrs. Warren. I'll just go with Mrs. Warren. Lorraine. Okay, there we go. I was like, Elaine? Lorraine. How they depict her seeing energy behind the family. It really scared me in theaters. Like, I remember I came out with the person that I had seen the movie with, and I was really shaken. And they're like, what's wrong? And I said, that's how I see. I see in fuzzy stuff around people sometimes. And it really freaked me out because I had never seen representation like that before. I had only seen like farcical horror things before. So I liked that movie just because I felt represented in a funny way as a spiritual person, even though I would not have referred to myself as a medium at that point because I did not believe in myself. That's the truth of that. The other movies that kind of came from that, I didn't super resonate with, but yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that. You know, a movie that did resonate, The Others with Nicole Kidman. Highly recommend watching that movie. Also, what is it? Why my words tonight? I'm gonna go soon, but it's Hill House, the Haunting on Netflix, the series, the first season in particular. So many things happened in that I was like, that's happened to me. That's happened to me. That there happened to me. It was so good. Anywho, let's see. The Haunting of Hill House. Yes, thank you, Cindy. Oh yes, and thank you, Caitlin. I appreciate all of y'all being like, Rebekah, your words. Here's the words that you're looking for. I'm like, thank you. Oh goodness. So yeah, I'm gonna pop off, but this was a super fun live. Thanks everybody for joining me. Just all of a sudden, I've been filming today and I was like, let's do live. So thanks again. If you missed any of this, it'll be up on my YouTube within the week. And for anybody who's going to be meeting me in New Orleans from the Patreon group that I'm a part of, I look forward to seeing you so much so soon. We're going to have so much fun. And remember, everybody, if you want to travel with me at a later date, do check out Croatia. That link is going to be in my bio. That doesn't happen until May of 2024, so there's plenty of time to save up money and get everything together. But you want to be sure to book your spots sooner than later, just because they will be going soon, and it's going to be an incredible trip. I'm so excited. So anywho, thank you again to my mods. Thank you again to my Patreons. Love y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope you have a great night, day, wherever you are. Goodbye.